I'm dripping, dripping, I'm dripping, dripping, my swag. I'm dripping, dripping, I'm dripping, dripping, my swag. I'm dripping, dripping, I'm dripping, dripping, my swag. I'm dripping, dripping, I'm dripping, dripping, my swag.
All right, so most of us will never have the privilege of understanding what it feels like to be drafted into a pro sports league. But we can all relate to being overcome with emotion despite knowing what the end result will ultimately be. Example, you knew Titanic was going to sink, but Rose telling Jack, I'll never let go, it got you, right? 9 months doesn't really prepare you for the first time that you see your kid.
Oh, so
Or,
cute.
Matt, when you watch that kid in an 18-year buildup inevitably walk across the stage towards a diploma, or in last night's case, an NBA career. Mark Schwartz with all the feelings from the Barclays last night.
We've seen Zion dominate, and we've seen him fly. But it was not until his dream came true that we'd ever seen Zion cry.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I didn't think I'd be in this position. My mom sacrificed a lot for me. I wouldn't be here without my mom. She did everything for me. I just want to thank her.
Williamson knew he would be #1 for months, but sharing the moment with his mom, whom he calls his toughest coach ever, revealed a side of Zion none of us had ever witnessed.
She put her dreams aside for mine. She always looked out for the family first before herself.
When the Knicks chose R.J. Barrett third, he needed his dad's shoulder because of a prediction his grandfather made.
That was one of the reasons why I was crying, because, you know, we used to watch the Knicks growing up, and he'd always tell me that I was going to be a Knick. And, you know, it's sad that he can't be here to see it, but I'm just very happy, man.
For some, the tears were for loved ones who could only be there in spirit. Future Sixer Matisse Thybulle talked about how his late mom Elizabeth was his inspiration.
I wish she was here to see it. The way she fought for everything, like even until the end when she was getting sick.
#4 pick DeAndre Hunter wore his heart on a string.
There's a picture of me and my dad when I was a baby. I was about 8 months maybe. And my dad passed away when I was in first grade, so I just want him to be here with me. I want him to get drafted with me, and he's seeing everything I'm seeing right now, so he's right here with me.
Kobe White said everything he does on and off the court is for his late father.
I'm excited, but it's also hard for me because I would give anything to have him here with me tonight, and let him see me walk across the stage. But I just gotta enjoy the moment.
Zion Williamson, Ja Morant, and R.J. Barrett are all projected to be superstars. But for all three, draft night was not about wingspan or shoe deals. It was about gratitude, and it was powerful.
It certainly was. We're joined by our NBA front office insider, Bobby Marks. We're not going to ask you to give draft grades on emotions because we know everyone earned an emphatic A, but I do want to talk about which teams overwhelmed you with their draft last night, Bobby.
Well, I think it's the two teams up top, New Orleans and Memphis, and not because Zion Williamson and Ja Morant were selected. I think what happened afterward, and when you look at what New Orleans was able to do, they had that 4th pick from the Lakers, and they were able to move to 8, where they took Jackson Hayes. Now they have their starting center. They moved to 17. They have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who they can put in their backcourt. They also got a future first from Atlanta, and they created $30 million in cap space to become a player in free agency. And with Memphis, to be able to move back 2 spots and get Brandon Clark from Gonzaga, a player that we all thought would be in the lottery, I think those two teams kind of stood out last night.
All right, what about the teams that underwhelmed you in the draft last night?
Well, I think we started the draft last night with Phoenix when they traded that T.J. Warren contract. We thought it was more of a salary cap dump to create some room to good 3-year, $35 million contract. Then we saw them take the 6th pick in the draft and move back to 11 and take Cam Johnson, who was projected to go in the early 20s. They did get Dario Saric in the deal. So I think what Phoenix did last night probably underwhelmed me. The jury is still out. They did get a point guard in Ty Jerome from Virginia, but that cost them that Milwaukee pick that they got in the Eric Bledsoe trade from 2 years ago.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about emotional support groups on Twitter for Phoenix fans last night. Okay, so last night, when you were talking about your Knicks team, the needs included everything. Now that they have R.J. Barrett, would you like to reassess what your Knicks still need?
How about almost everything?
Okay.
Well, I think it's, when you look at this Knicks team, this is clearly a rebuilding team, and we don't know what will happen in free agency in the next, in the next couple of days. They do have $70 million, and R.J. Barrett is certainly a start. So if you want to ask me maybe at the end of July 30th, if they got everything, I'll give you more of a concrete answer, but it's a start, Al, and I think it does start with R.J. Barrett.
Certainly disappointed that they weren't able to get in on the Zion sweepstakes, but again, R.J. Barrett was the top prospect coming out of high school last year, and many had him going #1 overall before Zion just Zioned that thing. Bobby Marks, go get some rest as he joins us post-NBA draft. All right, let's now go by the numbers on the NBA draft. Been a big couple of weeks for Canada. How about we, the North? They won their first NBA title. Now they have 4 Canadian-born players selected in the first round in 2019. That is the most picks by any country other than the U.S. in the first round of the draft. This year, the lottery featured no international players for the first time since 2013. However, like in 2014, the first pick following the lottery was an international player, and this year it was Sekou Doumbouya. And for the first time in the Common Draft era, Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky each produced 3 first-round picks. Their 9 total picks, second most from these 3 schools in the first round in the Common Draft era, trailing the 10 that were taken, Matt, in 2012.
A draft is tonight, Jalen Rose. And it seems like it's been months. We know who's going to get picked first.
Be some new millionaires.
We know who's going to get picked first. It's going to be Zion.
New professional.
And he's going to go to the New Orleans Pelicans.
The Pelicans fly. I told you the Pelicans fly.
The draft. He talked about the pressure that comes with being the first pick. Let's listen.
I don't really see it as pressure. I'm doing what I love to do, and that's play basketball. And I don't try to live up to nobody's expectations. They can set them there, but I don't try to live up to them. I just be me. Try to be the best version of myself I can be.
Jalen doesn't feel any pressure. Doesn't see it as pressure. What do you think about that approach?
I think what he said is accurate, because the reason why he doesn't feel pressure is he knows how good he is. He knows how much potential that he has. He knows how much work that he's got accomplished so far in his young career. He played for arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time in college. And so now all of a sudden on this stage, trying to live up to everybody's hype, one thing that you notice from being a young man to now older men is that you'll never be able to satisfy everybody's expectations about you.
No.
It's like trying to please people until you realize that it's hard to do that when a lot of people don't realize that they're actually unhappy with themselves. And so for a player like Zion, 6'7", 280, he jumping off of both feet. Now, when I say that, I think that goes over people's head. I'm a left-handed player, like Zion. I'm jumping off my right foot to dunk. He jumping off both feet, using both hands to dunk. He's almost ambidextrous at that. It is phenomenal to see somebody with that power, that explosion. And what gets lost with his game, multiple efforts defensively. He's going to be getting steals. He's going to be getting blocks. He's going to be doing something I never did. He's going to be diving on that hard floor for basketballs. He's going to be flying into the stands trying to save the ball. Like, this is the kind of player that's going to get oohs and ahs beyond just getting dunks because of his effort and the tenacity that he's going to bring to the table, and underrated smile.
He does have a good personality.
Yes, he does.
He handles all of this very, very well.
He does.
He did a lot of media in the last couple of days, and he handles it all
really
very,
charming,
very well.
Young man.
He really
lot
does.
more mature than I could ever be.
Can I be the
then
Buckeye?
And now.
Can I be the Buckeye?
No, but go ahead.
Please.
Sure.
What's his position again?
Oh, no.
Who's he going to cover? Is he going to cover Steven Adams, Joel Embiid? Is he going to cover a wing like Paul George?
Fair. This is why being a young player still becomes a proving ground. He's not a finished product.
He's not.
And I want to put this out there that's really important. If somebody said to you that Zion at some point of his career was going to average 23 points per game, how would you feel about that as it relates to the hype that has come with him so far?
I would say that's fine. But another 23 points, I would say he can do that his first couple of years because he's on a bad team. But he's not a LeBron to me, who can be your entire team. He is someone who can be a piece in a championship team, a second option, but he doesn't feel like you have Zion, so you have a winning team right now.
See, the reason why I bring that up is if you averaging 23 points per game, you're amongst the league leaders in scoring.
That's great.
Right?
Over 20 points averaging?
And so here's why I reel you in, and the rest of the fans. Zion averaged 23 and 9 last year in college. You know who averaged those same numbers in the NBA last year? Julius Randle. Same numbers Zion averaged in college. Julius Randle averaged in the league. And that's a great thing for the young player. I'm going to tell you why. He gets a chance to fall into a system that's already had a player that's left-handed, that does a lot of the things he does offensively. Coach Alvin Gentry is going to know the spots to put him on the floor. Like, he's going to be able to be ushered into a scenario that was already actually paid for him. The other thing is, it's not a diss to be compared to Julius Randle.
No, but there's more expectations on Zion than there were on Randle. They expect, if you were to say to the New Orleans Pelicans, you're going to get a slightly upgrade from Julius Randle, they'd be like, well, that's not what we're looking for the number one pick.
Well, here's the difference. That's why I put those numbers out there. At some point, if Zion is able to give me 23 and 10 in the league, that's work.
It is.
Okay, but here's the difference between him and Julius Randle. And of course, there are a million of them. The main one, though, he's going to be a terrific defender, to answer your point. And I don't see him playing against Joel Embiid one-on-one in the post. But will guys like Steven Adams, he can guard him.
I don't know.
On certain possessions.
I don't know.
He can. What is Steven Adams going to do offensively?
Get a little hook shot.
He has improved.
Yeah.
He has improved. I don't want to see him guarding shooting guards, but the improvement for his game in the league is going to have to be guarding perimeter players.
Well, this night is about Zion. This is Zion's number one pick. They're so excited about Zion in New Orleans that New Orleans' signature fast food chain, Popeyes, they have a special wingspan box for Zion. It comes with 77 boneless wings, 11 biscuits, and 11 servings of fries. Jalen Rose, does that look good to you?
I like my chicken hot.
Oh, you think it's cold? Too much. I like this. I like
my chicken hot. I eat a lot of Popeyes. For those that don't know, in Detroit, I grew up on Puritan and Apple-Line. 2 blocks away was a Popeyes. I ate Popeyes almost every day. I'm at liberty to say. No doubt.
Oh, no.
I'm at liberty to speak on this topic.
Okay.
Number one, best biscuits in the game.
Only 11 in the wingspan box, though. Like, I need more biscuits
in the game. Gotta get extra crispy. Mm-hmm. And you want a fresh batch. If I'm getting 77, there are gonna be some that are hot. There'll be some that are lukewarm.
Yeah. I like what
by
you're
the
doing
time
here.
that they getting eaten. So I feel like that's a glutton. That's too much.
Too much. You gotta be hot.
And who can carry that?
So
That's the other thing.
we know Zion's going number one.
We do.
We also know who's going number 2. Ja Morant.
Holla.
Ja Morant, the Fire
It's
Festival.
murder.
The Fire Festival's back. And Ja Morant has some haters, but it doesn't bother him. And
We all
let's
do,
let
Ja.
him explain why.
Yes, I really like the negative energy. He haven't played against nobody. He's too small. He can't shoot. I love negative energy motivates me, and it really doesn't bother me because my dad was my first hater. So if I can take it from him, I can take it from anybody.
He loves the negative energy, and his dad was his first hater. What do you think about that?
It's the reality of life. If your goal is to be liked, If your goal is to be accepted, if your goal is to be appreciated, you shouldn't be walking the face of this earth. Because there are always gonna be times that you feel in one of those categories that people aren't giving you the respect, the love, the appreciation that you feel you deserve. Those things never add up. I'm glad that he takes it as, I'm gonna use that as fuel versus I'm gonna use it as, I need to be in the comments responding to everybody.
Do you know what no one ever says? I'm overappreciated. No one ever says that. No one ever says that. The word overappreciated is never used in the English language because everyone feels slighted all the time.
Just think about me doing this job. I talk positive about people every day. Never hit me and say thank you. But it's my job. They shouldn't have to. But you say something negative about people?
Text.
They'll hit you.
They'll hit you.
Okay. You say something that has to nerve to them to question them or criticize them or call them out on something that they said or did. Oh man, they might go into a shell and pout about it. So for Ja Morant, understanding that blood is thicker than water, because that's why he brought up his father was his first critic. If I could deal with it internally, I should be able to deal with it externally.
We have Zion going first, Ja going second, and it also feels like we know who the third pick is.
And I love that he got lines in his eyebrows like Big Daddy Kane.
I like that too. We also know who's going to be the third pick. RJ Barrett and the Knicks. It seems like they're on a collision course. What do you think about RJ's fit with the Knicks?
I need people to do this.
Uh-oh. You got the bat out. Something's happening.
I got the bat
Something's
out
happening.
too. I got the bat out. I need people to understand that RJ Barrett is going to be a star in the league.
All-star?
Yes, he'll be an all-star.
Word?
Yeah. Because when you live in New York, where we're doing this show right now, people always want the splash thing to happen. Oh, we're going to sign Kawhi.
KD, AD,
Yo,
Zion,
how about this?
Kyrie, everybody.
Did I miss something about the NBA draft lottery odds that made New York Knicks fans feel like they just were going to get the
Did you
number
see
one
the
pick?
reaction videos? Knicks fans were so upset. It was like, you had a 14% chance. Do you understand what that means? It's a 14% chance.
That means you have an 86% chance for it not to happen.
getting. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But let me tell you what they did get.
They won the draft lottery.
That the Bulls didn't get, that the Suns didn't get. They were one of the teams that were tanking. They got a top 3 pick. And that's where you wanted to be in this year's draft.
And it does feel like there's 1, 2, 3 in this draft, and then there's a gap, and then it's all wide open.
And now having RJ Barrett, a guy that gonna consistently get you points, he's gonna consistently attack the basket. He's gonna be somebody that once he learns to pass off the dribble, is gonna be able to feed shooters. They didn't really have shooters in Duke. And let's not sleep on this. Duke has 2 of the top 3 players getting picked. Did they make it to Final Four?
No.
Did
No, they did not.
Okay, it's because they didn't have shooting. You put some shooting around him, I'm telling you, it's gonna make his game look a lot different in the league. I think he's gonna be a special player. I think New York is gonna be happy to have him. And for this thought that you now have Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Mitchell Robinson, and RJ Barrett.
Trier, don't sleep on Trier. I love
Alonzo Trier.
I love Trier.
So now all of a sudden, if they're able to add in a superstar level vet, especially if it's a KD or even KD's the one. KD's the one. KD's the one. KD's the one. Hopefully they can add.
Kawhi ain't coming.
He'll visit.
You can do a little meeting?
He'll visit.
Jalen Rose, it's time for you to take us behind the curtain.
Let's get it.
Jalen Rose, a very simple question for you. The day of the NBA draft, take us behind the curtain. What is it like to be drafted into the NBA? What's that moment like?
So it's a life-altering opportunity that you know is going to happen. It's almost like holding the winning lottery ticket, but you can't cash it. And if and when you cash it, you don't know how much it's going to be. Because only a few players get a chance to do what LeBron and Zion and Shaq and Tim Duncan, and that's nowhere you're going to get picked.
So you thought you were going to get picked earlier than you did.
You always do.
So
everybody does.
Tell me about the bittersweetness of it.
That's why you'll look at the draft and say, okay, first round, 30 guaranteed contracts. Second round, 30 unguaranteed contracts. Then you look at the players that's coming out, you're like, wait a minute, there's 200 players coming out. that math don't add up at all. And so as a player, number one, it's something that you worked for. It's something that you dreamed about. Playing against the best, with the best, on the largest stage. The opportunity to do special things for yourself and for your family. The opportunity to be fresh to death like I was on draft day with the red,
questionable,
white, striped
questionable, Jalen Rose.
With the red Gators.
You really had me engaged until you started talking about how fresh you were.
What I mean?
That tie, though, people always talk about the suit. Your tie was ugly too. What is that tie? What was that thing?
It was
Jalen.
fly.
We will talk so much more about the draft, but next, huge trade in the NBA. We'll give you all the details right after this.